Okay, 31st of January 2024, FOMC Wednesday, daily cap trade review for the ES and the NQ. Another bad day today. Had a very good setup, very good plan, did not capitalize on it. Let my emotions take in charge. Obviously ended up losing. Down about 9 points on NQ. But an opportunity cost, it's about 60, 80, 90 points. So even the 9 points do not sound as much, the opportunity cost is so high. It's absolutely insane. Regardless, let's go over my plans first, and then what happened throughout the day. So both ES and NQ were gapping down. Yesterday we had some tech earnings after the close. NQ became really weak at one point of time. It was already almost about 200 points down from its previous day low. That's a massive gap down. Didn't open on that much of a gap down. Like, it was still 160 points, not 200, but decent sized gap down for the NQ. Similarly, ES opened on about a 16-point gap down. So a weak open for sure. And then from there, was it a gap and go, or is the gap going to fade? We had to assess it after the open. Regardless, the plan was to stay nimble because of FOMC Wednesday, and usually what I've noticed before, FOMC mornings tend to be very quiet in a very tight range. Today was something different, very, very different than what I've seen before. And nothing really set up ever in the ES, but provides some very good opportunities in the NQ, which I picked up. So ES maintained yet again at the all-time high yesterday. So basically broke out of this 3-day balance, and it maintained the entire day in the upper third, basically, of this breakout region. And very strong yesterday, but after the close, after the tech earnings, they were just dumping down. FOMC mornings usually trade in a very tight range, a lot of volatility, My initial plan, if we get any sort of gap fill reversal, depending on where we open and what's the risk reward landscape like, but the other thing is always a gap and go. Cannot really know ever which one will occur, so we wait and watch. And then the another thing, because I expected the morning to be a little bit quieter in a slightly tighter range, my expectations were if we were to open anywhere down here in this gap and we were not to gap close but gap and go, I would still be looking for a long in this little region. It's the middle of the balance here, not the idle place, but with the expectations from past experiences that say usually there are tighter ranges. So this seemed like a decent area to be protecting before FOMC. And then I had some levels marked for FOMC if and when we reach them, but I wasn't really looking to trade FOMC. So these were just levels of interest that were marked, but I wasn't really planning to trade around them anyways. Now for the NQ, similar sort of plan, but a gap fill reversal with a 200 or 160 point gap down. Obviously possible, but a little bit unlikely given all the weakness. And we never really got it, even though that was my first idea. The gap was so large, it just didn't happen. And then even overnight, while they're falling, it formed another 2-hour supply zone. Not the most key, because this is just weak-handed volume, very light volume. There's not much these people can do to protect anything. That was the idea, but still fell down. Never really got up out of there. And then this was my main line in the center today. 17,385 remains an important level. Overnight looked underneath it, but it's turning back. So we looked underneath overnight and then we turned back before the open. So not much interest to go down there, at least in the overnight session. And then breaking 17,385 to the downside provides a beautiful short opportunity with a lot of singles to close. I was looking for basically 385 to 271 where it closes all the singles and ending in demand. So obviously longs from here. And then yeah, that was basically the plan for today. Another bit of nuance was if after the open this area was to keep on holding and not break, I wouldn't be looking for any sort of short here. I would just not consider that area key. That was a little bit of nuance that I had in my plan, that if it were to stay down after the open, the odds of this going down here are quite good. At least they increase. And let's see what actually happened. So ES opened up straight up weakness. Just tried to go higher, just could not, and then so much selling came in. It just poured and poured and poured. Absolutely insane the amount of selling that came in. If you were to look at a 30-minute footprint, negative 6.6, negative 5, negative 4.5, at one point of time, negative 7.5, 5, and 5. That's a lot of selling that came in within the first 1.5 hours. So A, B, and C period, insane amount of selling that came in the ES. Open weak on a gap down and continued with weakness. Similarly, same thing happened with NQ. Tried a very weak push up, immediately got pushed down within the first 2-3 minutes, and then just came back down. There's no interest above, and it comes back underneath my line in the sand, gives a beautiful little retest. This is where I shot almost at the fucking top, and this is where I covered. I get really scared on this pullback. Maybe this one hold, maybe that one hold, and there's so many things going on for this setup. I got it so early, like half an hour into the open. I have this beautiful setup. The wicks is absolutely shooting higher, open and straight shot up higher until 11:50, until noon, which is probably around here. The wicks is on a rocket ship. We open so weak. We are under the open. We are gapping down and going down, and then everything was in my favor. But I took I took one loss. Took 2 trades here in this section. The first one was a 10-point loss, and then as I took this entry again, it was right at this 385 almost. Pretty much at exactly my level of interest. It was such a good entry, but the previous loss and the losses yesterday, that just affected me. Did not want to have a break-even trade, did not want to have a red trade, and in doing so, I literally had a 90-point worth of opportunity cost. Not saying I would have had all of it. That was the plan. Regardless, the plan was 271. It never came there, but this was the last set of singles. So 284 between 271. This is the last set of singles that it didn't close after its immediate push down from there. Regardless, had a 10-point loss followed by a 3-point gain, and inverse risk to revert to what you want. 1:3 rather than 3:1. Absolutely atrocious. It never even came to the break-even entry, and then there was just VWAP there. I did not even give it a chance to at least like test the VWAP. I just closed before it. It never even tested the VWAP, never even got even to my break-even entry. And yeah, that was what I did today. Such a clean setup, such a good plan. Absolutely atrocious performance yet again. Anyway, come up with a new rule. I'm not going to move my stops anymore. It's either going to be a 2 to 1 or it's going to be a -1. There's nothing in between. Could be more, but there's definitely nothing less. Not moving my stops break even, not moving my stops to 1 hour, 2 hour, anywhere. They stay where they are at the top of the pivot. My stats say that will work the best. If I just leave everything be, I would have positive expectancy, and because I'm not leaving everything as it should be, I'm currently running on negative expectancy. So things have to change. Today's change includes no more moving stops. It is what it is, and we go with whatever we get. And that was the entire thing that really set up for me today. So once we got from here to here, it never really came down to the demand zone, so I cannot really be looking for longs yet. And this is here, it comes back again right to that area, but it's 1:30, FOMC is 2 p.m. There's no way I'm putting on new positions anymore. It's not a good idea, even though it worked here, but it's a one-time thing. There are many more trading days within the year to be following the system and doing what you should be, and not just this is pretty much gambling at this point of time, so close to FMC. Yes, it worked, but it's not my trade. Not really. Doesn't really matter to me at all. Doesn't affect me at all. And then it held and held, provided decent opportunities, went up to the mark supply zone, and since it never held above this area, I would still consider that a decent place. But this is just the FOMC push. This is all 2 p.m. The 2 p.m. push, the 2 p.m. fluster was not that bad. Usually it's much worse. 2:30, Paul starts speaking, and then this is like the initial push higher, and then they just flushed it lower, and that was some nice little trappy movement. I wasn't there, but it was pretty interesting to watch. Similar for ES. So ES never really set up again with anything throughout the day. Initially, when I was looking for longs, expecting a little bit of a quieter session in the morning, but the selling was just so strong. Obviously, there was no way I was going to look for a long here. There was no opportunity, and then it never really came up to my level of interest. It's pretty close, 902, 903, but since I haven't marked it, it's not my trade. I would take it if it comes down here. I would not take it if it comes up here. It doesn't matter. And then it does provide a retest, but at that point of time, it's just hard to know what to expect. Looks like a good play. Like, obviously it's hindsight, and even in forward side there was decent selling. Actually, a lot of selling, but it never really set up in a way that I would have liked, and that's why I did not take it, and it doesn't really bother me. That was because compared to NQ, NQ was such a clean setup, and what I did was absolutely terrible. So ES to me never really set up, and then it just, after this, it just consolidated in a tight range as you would before FOMC, and so we are here at 10:40, 45, pretty much 10:30, until pretty much 2, we just consolidate here. FOMC hits, initial push down, a little bit of la, shoots up as Powell peaks, traps and comes back down, only to close pretty much at the lows. Again, very trappy. I wasn't involved, but one thing is, even with this Trape Whipsoy news FOMC action, the levels they operate rather nicely. Like the exact push down from the level at 2 p.m. and then it holds here, pushes back up from here, breaks it here, and then it holds again here. So yeah, I wasn't trading. Regardless, didn't perform well, but something good came out of the day. I have a new rule, going to abide by it, and then we'll see how it changes things on to being a little bit better every day. Awesome.